Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we will have a really special video because I will be giving my impressions on the Galaxy A52s after 10 days of use. But first of all, I would like to congratulate you all for giving me so many views in my first video. My first video really blew up and I didn't expect to get so much views. The video right now is at almost 400 views at the time of recording it, and I am very thankful for all the attention that I have gotten. Now, after 10 days of use with this device, I'm making a pretty good image of what owning this device is like. Actually, this device isn't for me, but for my mom, but I think my mom will enjoy this device a lot, because it has a lot of cool features. First of all, the screen. It's a very big 6.5 inches AMOLED screen that can work at 120 Hz, but right now I have it at 60 Hz for a reason that I will explain later on the video, but for the sake of the video, I'ma put the 120 Hz. Here, motion smoothness, high, apply. Okay. For the video I will apply the high speed mode. It's so fast, you can see that it's pretty fluid. And yeah, the image quality is good, but I have an inconvenience, and is that the colors, as it tends to be the case with AMOLED screens, and I own a few AMOLED screens, they tend to make the colors a little bit bluish, but in general they are pretty accurate. If you do not like AMOLED screens, however, and you prefer an IPS screen, this device is not for you because it has an AMOLED screen. But the vast majority of smartphone users prefer AMOLED screens. That's something that I had to tell you before anything else. What I'm going to talk about this device is the performance. This smartphone comes with the Snapdragon 778G, and that includes 4 IRM cores at 2.4 GHz and 4 IRM codes at 1.8 GHz. In reality, this processor is the Snapdragon 778G, and it's an upper mid-range processor from Qualcomm. Here you have it. Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G SM7325 with 4 ARM Cortex A55 cores at 1804 MHz and 4 ARM Cortex A78 at 2400 MHz. It's done at 6 nanometers, so it's a pretty power efficient processor. It needs to be, with the 120 Hz AMOLED screen and the 4500 mAh of battery. It's good, but it's not too much. And it comes with a Super AMOLED screen, as I told you, is 6.5 inches and a 405 pixels per inch, which is pretty good. It's a very high resolution for a device. And the graphics card is the Adreno 642L. I haven't tested a lot of games, but the ones that I have tested work pretty well. I download Call of Duty Mobile, I tried Clash Royale, I tried FIFA Mobile, and these games work at 60 Hz because the processor isn't able to move them at 120 Hz with high graphics, but the experience is really fluid and much better than in my Poco X3. So if you're a light gamer like I am, you're not a hardcore enthusiast, I recommend it. The battery, it's 4500 mAh, but yeah. How do I say it? The battery is good for most users. 95% of users won't have any trouble with the battery, but if you're a hardcore enthusiast, it might fall a little bit short. For example, in my use case scenario, I'm not a person that plays a lot of video games with my phone. No, I already have my Xbox for that. I'm a person that likes to use my phone a lot to take pictures, to read GCM Arena, to read the news, to WhatsApp with people, to use Discord, Reddit, forums to read things, to read in Wikipedia, Google Maps. I use Google Maps a lot to say, oh, where is this store? Yeah, this use case scenario. I give it an intense I give it an intense use but not really demanding. So what I need is a really high battery life, but I don't exactly need a lot of performance. But most people would prefer better performance and a little bit less of battery life. The battery life is good, but it's not excellent. And if you are a hardcore user, the battery life might fall a little bit short. However, if you're a regular user, you will be really happy with this phone. And if you are an enthusiast user, a gamer, that always carries a power bank, you won't have any issues. But I'm not that kind of user. Yeah, it comes with Android 12 and the security patch is July 2022. That's a very good thing that Samsung has, and it's quick update policy. It's updated to the latest security patch and updated to the latest version of Android. And that's pretty rare, to be honest. Then I have the device in English United States, so there might be some difference in the settings compared to other regions. That's something very important to mention. Now, the camera. The main camera is 64 megapixels, the rear facing camera, and with a focal length of 5.23 millimeters, which is pretty good. The selfie camera is 32 megapixels for photo and 8 megapixels per video, and it's pretty good. The front-facing camera is actually pretty surprising for this price range. I have taken a lot of selfies and the quality is good, but the rear-facing camera is the best because it has a 64 megapixels main, another 12 megapixels sensor, and another 5 megapixels. And the Adreno 642L is pretty good for photos. I'm gonna show you some examples. Like this night shot, it's pretty good. There is a lot of detail. Even in harsher conditions, the photos are pretty good. In day conditions, the photos are excellent, on par with any flagship. And even in closed spaces with not a lot of light, you can see pretty well everything. It has a lot of detail. Right now I am doing a Geekbench 5 test to test the speed with a benchmark, and I will compare it to my old Poco X3, and we will compare the speed and the score and everything. So, what do I think about this device? Well, the camera is good, the screen is awesome, the loudspeakers are great, we will taste that later. The battery is good for many users, but as I explained earlier, not for my use case scenario, and the speed is pretty good. It has 776 points in single core and 2802 in multi-core, which is pretty good actually. For example, in multi-core, an S21 Ultra scores around 300 and 100, and the Poco F3 around 3060. So it's not that far behind. It's way more powerful than an S20 Plus, and it's much more powerful than my Poco X3, 700 points versus 2802. It's almost 2 times as powerful as a Poco X3, so that translates into good performance. Obviously, this isn't a flagship. Don't expect to play Genshin Impact in Full HD or 2K resolution with 120 Hz, and the smartphone will do the best performance in everything and I'm going to do video editing. No, it's a mid-range phone. It will give you a good performance for the price. Okay? Another thing that I want to show are the little things. This smartphone has a pretty good Wi-Fi speed. Now I'm connected to my Wi-Fi and the speeds are pretty good. It can pull around 250 megabits per second of internet, and not every device is capable of reaching that speed. My internet is around 300 megs and this device can reach 200 and something. yeah, it's pretty good. Even in upload, it reaches 281 megs. And this is not something that every device does. So I'm pretty grateful for it. Now, I'm going to criticize three things about this phone. First of all, the software. One UI, it's a clean interface, but it's not specially efficient, and it doesn't feel like modern Android. It reminds me a lot of Android 2, Android 3, these old TouchWiz devices. It has improved, don't get me wrong, it's faster and more fluid than TouchWiz, but still doesn't feel as fresh and clean as stock Android. It has quite a lot of customization and it's good, but the feeling is different than in an average Android phone. Second, the Samsung apps like the Samsung browser and many of the Samsung apps that require a Samsung account work meh. They could be improved greatly to be compared to the Google's alternative. I use Google Chrome and it works better than Samsung's Navigator. But Firefox also works better than Samsung Navigator, that can be a little bit slow and sluggish. That's my only drawback that I see. But Galaxy Store has some pretty cool apps that are not found in other vendors. So yeah, you can find, for example, Fortnite, and that one is not, this one is not in the Google Play. So yeah, if you like Fortnite, Samsung devices are good without having to sideload anything, or you know. I have connected my Samsung device to a power bank, and it can be charged by any power bank. Mine is a Xiaomi, and as long as you have an USB to USB-C cable, this device can be charged with whatever power bank or whatever charging device you have. But it's recommendable to use an official Samsung charger or a power bank from a reputable brand. And the most important thing is to use an original Samsung cable. It doesn't need to be the one that came with the device, but please use an original Samsung cable, because that cable will give you the best safety. Do not buy off-brand cables. Well, here I have the Poco X3 side by side, and you can see the huge difference in scores. And I think the jump in performance coming from a Poco X3 to the A52s, it's pretty noticeable. But the issue that I see with the A52s is that if you're a light user like me, I'm a light user in terms of performance, but not battery. Okay? I do not play games, I do not do video editing on my phone, and I need the snappiness to do everyday tasks. And the Poco X3 has enough of that. The A52s, it's much faster and it's greater to use, yeah, it's more comfortable to use. But the issue that I see with the A52s is that the battery doesn't adaptate to my needs. The battery of 4500 mAh falls a little bit short for my use case scenario. But I repeat, I have told you this already, for most people this battery is perfectly fine. It's a good battery for most people. And for enthusiasts, they might prefer buying a flagship. Okay, but if you're an enthusiast on a budget, yeah, you can pick up this phone and buy an external battery and carry around with it if you plan to game all day, yeah, no trouble. But if this phone had launched with more battery, it would have been a great phone. Many people actually recommended me the Galaxy M52 5G from Samsung. That is pretty much this model but with a bigger battery. But being a device of the M series, it's pretty hard to get in Spain, so I couldn't buy that. By the way, 91% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So please subscribe to my channel for more content and to see a review of this device if you want. In the review I will do a more in-depth analysis of everything that I have told you here, and I hope you really enjoyed this video.